Hello students, so this is the revision video for chapter 6 CA Final Audit in the module which the chapter that deals with audit report. Alright, in audit report chapter of the module, they have basically covered SA 700 to SA 706, and there is always at least one question in the descriptive part and something in the MCQ part that they try to test from this particular set of essays. Alright. Now, since this is the revision video, I will touch upon the core concepts and how you should look at this whole particular topic when you are revising. So, when you are revising this topic, the first thing that you need to do is essay 705, and that is modification to the opinion, where we discuss about qualified adverse and disclaimer of an opinion. Alright. So, I will straight away first come to the content that is given for essay 705, modification to the opinion in independent auditor's report. The types of modified opinion, qualified adverse, disclaimer of opinion. When you come to this opinion, what kind of answers you are supposed to write in the question bank. Even if you look at December 21, there was a very simple question on the audit opinion part, and when I went through certified copies, many students went wrong over there. So that hurts, but if students do not go wrong into this topic, they will score a good amount of marks. In spite of telling them, giving them the instructions, still students go wrong. That should not happen. All right, coming to the core concept. When we talk about modified opinion, please focus over here. When do you come to this qualified adverse or disclaimer of an opinion? There is one chart that I will draw, the charts that already my students have it. All right, but everyone needs to focus on this particular point. So SA 705 talks about modification to the opinion. When do you come to this qualified adverse or disclaimer of an opinion? All right, you have to analyze the question. From the English of that question, from the wordings of the question, you should be able to conclude very easily whether sufficient and appropriate audit evidence has been obtained or sufficient and appropriate audit evidence is not obtained. All right, that should be very clear from the English of the question. If sufficient and appropriate audit evidence has been obtained, and if there are uncorrected misstatements, auditor has requested management to rectify, they are not rectifying it. There are uncorrected misstatements. When I say misstatements, we focus on ACPD, amount, classification, presentation and disclosure. If any of these things are wrong, all right, not correctly stated, you have found a disclosure which needs to be given, not given, all right. So if ACPD goes wrong, then in that case, you need to evaluate the materiality. See, in the paper, they may not give you something that is immaterial. Of course, they will give you something that is material. You need to evaluate the materiality. Now you know what I'm going to say next, because you are final CA student looking at this revision video. All right. So after evaluating the materiality of these uncorrected misstatements, there are two possibilities. Either it is material but not pervasive, or it is material and pervasive. Now, although students are confident that they know what is the meaning of the word pervasive, still they commit mistakes in exams. All right. So let me be very clear. What is the meaning of the word pervasive? Something that can have a major impact on substantial portion of the financial statements. Means it is not limited to only few items. If you even calculated that how many items it affects, then it may cover substantial portion of financial statements. Now, this is not something that has been defined what will be substantial portion of the financial statements. It should be very clear from the question. For example, if you are conducting audit of a coaching class, and if admissions of the students and payment done to professor and printing and stationery, if these things are wrongly stated, then in that case, it is very clear, the question is very clear that the effect is material and pervasive. It will impact the overall financial statements. In exams, if the question is not clear, if they are not giving you clear hints whether it is material and pervasive or not, then by default you assume that it is material but not pervasive. This is for solving MCQs. This is for solving MCQs. All right, where you have to come to a specific opinion, right? You have to choose. Or this is for solving such kind of answers where you're supposed to write one opinion. All right. So if the question is not clear, I repeat, if the question is not clear, you cannot assume that it is material and pervasive. You know that whatever they have given in the question is material, but it is not clear whether it is pervasive or not, then the safest thing will be to assume that it is material but not pervasive. Like in a manufacturing entity, you have found out that inventory is overvalued. All right. What will be your opinion if management is not rectifying this misstatement? Obviously, this is material, but is there any total asset given in the question? Is there any parameter given in the question through which we can calculate that it is material and pervasive? Is there any such parameter given in the question? No, sir. Then what are you going to assume? That this is material but not pervasive if they have asked this in MCQ. If they have asked this in descriptive where they want you to write one opinion, then for such kind of answers where you are forced to select which opinion it is, then you will have to go with material but not pervasive calculation if the question is not clear. All right. Okay. So if you have found out misstatements, if they are not rectifying it, if it is material but not pervasive, then you go for qualified opinion. If it is material and pervasive, you go for adverse opinion. You know what is qualified opinion, that financial statements are showing a true and fair view except for the following. You know what is adverse opinion, that financial statements do not show a true and fair view. All right. So for solving such questions where you are forced to select one opinion, if the question is not clear, you go for material but not pervasive, that is qualified opinion. However, if the question says that discuss what will be your approach as an auditor, all right, where you have the liberty to write in detail, then you say that since the question is not clear, we go for either qualified or adverse opinion. All right. So sufficient appropriate audit evidence obtained. There are uncorrected misstatements. You evaluate the materiality. If the question is clear, like in coaching class, in an audit of coaching class, admissions of the students, payment done to professor, printing and stationery was not correctly recorded. If the question is clear, there it is very clear that the effect is going to be on the overall financial statements, material and pervasive, then adverse opinion. All right. Let us say in audit of a coaching class, only printing and stationery was not correctly recorded. The question is still clear, that we can come to qualified opinion and not adverse opinion over here. All right. But, in audit of manufacturing entity, inventory is overvalued. All right. Now the question is not clear over here. If you have the liberty to write detailed answer, then say that since the question is not clear, there are two possibilities, either qualified or adverse. If you do not have the liberty to write detailed answer because they are asking you to draft the opinion or to select in MCQs, then you cannot assume material and pervasive. You'll have to go with material but not pervasive and give a qualified opinion over there. This is a revision video, so I will talk to the point, assuming that at least you have done one reading or at least you know about these words. All right. And I'm touching upon the core areas. But if you want a detailed discussion, then if you are my student, you have to refer to the course lectures. Or if you're not my student in YouTube, anyways, for modification to the opinion, we have uploaded a detailed video of inter-CA lecture which can help you. All right. Okay. 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 If sufficient and appropriate audit evidence is not obtained, then in that case, since you could not verify a particular item, all right, then you have to write this English, that we need to evaluate the possible effect. This English students are not writing, because you cannot calculate the effect because you could not find out the misstatement. So you have to evaluate the possible effect of undetected misstatements. Possible effect of undetected misstatements. What if this particular item, if I had received the evidence and what if it went wrong, then what could be the possible effect of undetected misstatements? It could be either material but not pervasive, or it could be material and pervasive. Now in a coaching class company, you were not given the details of the investments of that coaching class. Then in that case, obviously, when you try to evaluate the possible effect in a coaching class, let us say they haven't given the figures over here that how much data you are not able to, how much amount of investment you are not able to verify. Investment will be material, but by no means, by no stretch of imagination, it can be material and pervasive. Now, you were not able to verify, so evidence not obtained. Possible effect is material but not pervasive. And then in that case, qualified opinion. In a coaching class, you were not given the data to verify admissions of the students and payment done to professor, then in that case, obviously, this is very clear that a major part of the substantial part of the financial statements you are not able to verify, and you will genuinely not be in a position to express an opinion. So that will turn out to be your disclaimer of an opinion. Yes, this is how you are supposed to think for qualified adverse disclaimer. Now, if you read, when auditor modifies opinion and stuff, you will automatically start understanding this language. So you can quickly go through this. All right. I mean, if you have it in your notes and textbook, anyways, my students are having it. But these revision videos are, are being shot with a broader perspective of a student referring any material. So any material of their own professors, but keeping this as a benchmark material, I'm showing it over here. All right. Circumstances when a modification to the auditor's opinion is required. You can start reading this now. Quickly, you can revise. Qualified opinion shall be expressed when two ways, two situations. One, evidence has been obtained, uncorrected misstatement, material but not pervasive. Evidence not obtained, possible effect is material but not pervasive. All right. Now look at this very quickly. So just to gain some confidence, XYZ Limited is a company engaged in the manufacture of cranes. CA Sudhir is the statutory auditor. The company has taken long-term fundings for fixed capital requirement and short-term funding for its working capital requirement. During the course of audit, CA Sudhir found out that the company's financing arrangements are about to expire and the company is unable to renegotiate or obtain replacement financing. As such, company may be unable to realize its assets and discharge its liabilities. Okay, now this shows there is an effect on going concern. Now for going concern, there is a separate paragraph, right? But wait. The first thing as a student you need to analyze whenever this kind of questions are there, whether there is a misstatement or not, whether you have obtained the evidence or not. Now you have obtained the evidence. You can study from this English that you have obtained the evidence. All right. Now there is a material uncertainty over their going concern. We want them to give adequate disclosures in the notes to accounts. Correct. Notes to accounts annexed to the financial statement discuss the magnitude of financial arrangements, the expiration and the total financing arrangements. However, financial statements do not include discussion on the impact or availability of refinancing. So, notes to accounts have been given, but these are not adequate disclosures. Not exactly the disclosures that should be given. All right, so some disclosures have been given, but some disclosures have not been given. Thus, the financial statements do not fully disclose the fact. It's not like they haven't given any disclosure. They do not fully disclose the fact. So, what kind of opinion should be? Okay, so sufficient and appropriate audit evidence obtained. All right, yes. You ask them to give adequate disclosures in their notes to accounts regarding their material uncertainty over going concern. Now, notes to accounts, adequate disclosures are not given. So, forget about MUGC para, other paragraphs, forget about it. When there is a misstatement, all right, the only thing that we need to think about is the opinion paragraph over here. All right. When you have not obtained the data, or when there is you have obtained the data, but there is a misstatement, you should be focused on opinion paragraph. Now, notes to accounts have been given, but they are not properly describing this. All right. So, in this case, if you follow my chart, evidence obtained, evaluate the materiality. Now, this could be either qualified or adverse. Now, they are forcing you to select what kind of opinion should CA Sudhir issue. Now, we don't know the total of this balance sheet. We don't know exactly how much is the stress. And it's not like that they are not disclosing things. They have disclosed almost everything, but few points have not been disclosed. Now, do you think that this makes the whole financial statement misleading? There is no such clear-cut evidence in the question. All right. And that is the reason that they have concluded that this will be a material but not pervasive impact. All right. Qualified opinion. If you understand my mentality and my explanation, till the point of time things are not very clear, we cannot assume a pervasive impact. All right. And that is why they have finalized on qualified opinion and they have expressed the opinion. Please look at the drafting how a qualified opinion is given. And in the basis for qualified opinion, they have explained, what is the uncertainty and what kind of note should have been given but not given. Those reasons have been given in basis for qualified opinion. After opinion, there is a basis paragraph that is given over here. All right. Okay. Now, interesting thing. Look at this. Very good examples that they have given. Illustration 4. ABC Limited is a company engaged in the manufacture of iron and steel bars. PP and Associates are statutory auditors. During the course of audit, CA Prakash, the engagement partner, found that the company's financing arrangements have expired and the amount outstanding was payable on March 31, 2021. The company has been unable to renegotiate or obtain replacement financing and considered filing for bankruptcy. These events indicate a material uncertainty. Okay. The financial statements do not disclose the fact. In the illustration 3, financial statements were not fully disclosing the fact. Here, the company is in a very bad position and they haven't given any disclosure. Now, not giving absolutely any disclosure. All right. So, you have obtained the data. You understood there is a material uncertainty over going concern. You asked them to give disclosures in their notes to accounts. They are not giving those disclosures, absolutely not giving those disclosures. Now, this will make the overall financial statements misleading because the readers will never come to know about this. Are you getting my point? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And that is why, look at this, what they have concluded. Because the question is very clear over here about the pervasive impact. Let me tell you, in the last line of the question, they would have said that discuss the possibilities or your approach as an auditor. Then we would have said it could be either qualified or adverse, depending upon the pervasiveness. Correct. But since they are asking you to give your opinion very clearly over here, then in that case, because the question is very, very clear, amply clear. So this is the whole chart, evidence obtained. All right, and we asked them to give some disclosures in the notes to accounts. They are absolutely not giving those disclosures, and it is about material uncertainty over going concern. So they have concluded this as an adverse opinion. All right, so I am in this revision video, I am focusing on the areas where you may go wrong. Otherwise, the content and stuff, you should just quickly go through the charts and notes, whatever you have with respect to opinion part. But I am exactly hitting you where things may go wrong. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So this is it about qualified adverse opinion. Now let us see what they have done for disclaimer of an opinion. Look at this. MNO Limited is a power generating company having its plants in northeastern states of the country. For the financial year 2021, Messrs. PRT and Associates are the statutory auditors of the company. During the course of audit, the audit team was unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence about a single element of consolidated financial statement. Unable to obtain about a single element of the CFS. That is, the auditor was also unable to obtain evidence about financial information about a joint venture investment that represents over 90% of entities' net assets. Wait, tell me, evidence obtained? No, 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 no. They were unable to verify. Possible effect. Possible effect either could be material but not pervasive or material and pervasive. Is the question very clear? Is the question very clear? Yes. That this is the possible effect of undetected misstatements could be material and pervasive. Yes, sir. Question is very clear that the effect could be material and pervasive, and that is the reason that they have given disclaimer over here. All right, because the question is very, 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 very clear. Disclaimer and then basis for disclaimer of an opinion paragraph. Yes, yes. Now listen to me. Whenever auditor gives disclaimer of an opinion, there are lots of changes in the audit report, but that when you should see when you know about all the points that are covered in audit report. Currently, I just explained you what is a qualified adverse or disclaimer of an opinion paragraph. All right. So here in disclaimer, they are very clear. We are unable to form an opinion. So that is the drafting. So please just look at the drafting of the main paragraphs and just see how they are writing this basis for disclaimer of an opinion paragraph. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Look at this. If auditor is unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, auditor shall determine the implications. All right. If the possible effect is material but not pervasive, qualified opinion. If the possible effect is material and pervasive, then disclaimer of an opinion. All right. But he can also consider the case of withdrawal from the engagement. That is okay. That is fine. Now they are talking about over here, what if auditor decides to withdraw? But that is discussed in all the standards that if he decides to withdraw, then in that case, he has to check whether it is legally permissible or not. And he also has to fulfill some obligations over here. Yes, this particular point that I am referring to, when auditor expresses a disclaimer of an opinion, what are the changes in the audit report, that we will discuss separately. All right. Okay. Okay. But let me tell you, when qualified adverse or disclaimer of an opinion are given, then the title of the paragraph, instead of opinion, it turns out to be either qualified adverse or disclaimer of an opinion. And then in basis for opinion paragraph, it will be basis for qualified, basis for adverse, or basis for disclaimer of an opinion. If you want, you can go through some more illustrations over here for qualified adverse and disclaimer of an opinion. This will just give you good confidence. And once you are done with this, do not worry about it. This point that I was referring to. Now, repeatedly they are saying that what are the changes in the audit report because of disclaimer of an opinion. This should be done at the end once you are completely clear about the full audit report format. That means after you are through with the knowledge of SS 700 to 706. Yes, yes, yes. All right. That's it for this particular short revision on qualified adverse and disclaimer of an opinion. All right.